Hello everybody, my name is Eric Tanner Mullins, and today we're going to be checking out Emon Toys' A Certain Scientific Railgun's Misaka Mikoto. She's a 1/7 figure, and just look at how dynamic and ambitious this figure is. Growing up loving the X-Men like crazy, I'm a pretty big fan of this franchise. This series in particular I thought was just absolutely fun as heck, but more on this later. Emon Toys, the audacity, the ambition. It is quite an incredibly fragile base. The actual base plate itself is a little bit rised up, too high for my taste, but I mean, they need to put a little bit of weight on it somehow. You get this blue transparent bottom area down here, where it then tops off with a mirror. I don't understand the mirror. I guess I kinda get it. It makes it look like the lightning is really cutting through everything and she's flying through the sky, so it is pretty impressive. It's just, I don't know if I would have maybe just put an illustration there. I don't know what to say about mirror bases when there aren't so many details that they can show off. I guess it just really gives off the effect that she's in the air. We get this awesome kinetic energy lightning effect going all across her, and my goodness, is this ever gorgeous from a distance. They're pegged in a little all over the place here. This is incredibly fragile. Nerve-wracking just ordering it due to the fact that you don't know if it's going to arrive in one piece. A lot of shipping complaints. But that's what happens when you want to be so ambitious on something like this, and you just don't prepare for it properly. Kinetic energy itself has all sorts of awesome blue highlights and darker blues. We get some shaded gradient using electric blue and silvers, which is very beautiful. Of course, when you start to look at it from up close, you get all these seam lines and plugins all over the place, but it's really not that bad. Considering this statue, they want you to look at it from the front. It's not really made to have mirrors all around it, with the exception of the one on its base. This energy looks absolutely gorgeous. Sculpt work is phenomenal. It really feels so wild and uncontained, much like Misaka herself. But it's this exact wild and uncontaininess that makes it so incredibly dangerous. Honestly, I'm not sure how many people ordered this figure online and just got her in broken. I don't have any picture of the packaging for you, but it was tight and very specific, so the second your box gets jostled up a little too much, the odds of one of these snapping is just, it's like, it's gonna happen. I'm so sorry for some of you that actually went through that. Despite all its little intricacies and small thin areas being super fragile, the main electricity kinetic piece is pretty solid in there. It holds her up very well. This character doesn't shake that much. It's pretty impressive. You also have the option to be able to pose Misaka in two different ways, where you could either have her standing straight up like in this photo here from the product shots, or on a sweet angle, and I really wanted to go at the angle. This is something very unique. I don't have anything that could do something like this or has this type of dynamic concept. Now let's start talking about this figure. Getting in with the shoes, they look incredible. I love that they put details on the bottom sole. Thank you, especially for a figure that's this dynamic, odds are you're gonna see it. So I love that they did that here. They seem like those dress shoes. They don't even have real traction on them, but you know with her sweet abilities that she would have traction. The shoes have all sorts of line art details going all across them, from the back of the shoe to the front to the sides. It's done in a pretty neutral brown, but we get a lot of shading all across it, which is nice. The sole itself is done in a slightly darker brown, while we get a warmer color along the top. She's got thick, loose ankle socks that are very representative of her from the TV series, where the shading here is warm and cold depending on where you're looking. Not too much detail on this, but it's okay because it does look a lot like in the cartoon. She has thin, slender legs, and they have a lot of detailing on them. Very nice sculpt work here, especially around the knees, and we get some warmer shading to be able to accentuate certain parts of her legs. Again, the sculpt work, even along the side, the back, it is well done. She's wearing shorts because of course she is. For any of you that have seen this series, she's always flipping around and doing all sorts of crazy wild stuff, and they bring it up more than once, where people will be there expecting to see some panty shot, and she's wearing these shorts, and she's just like, what do you expect, fool? I love the common sense that's written into this character quite a bit. She's freaking fantastic. Of course, the sculptors making this couldn't help themselves, so when you look close around her shorts and her legs, you do see that she is wearing some underpants, which are white, and they put tons of effort in the lining and the detailing on them. But this whole figure is all about those tiny details, and they're exceptionally well done on her. The shorts look pretty great. We got some nice shading, all sorts of line work, and the stretches and folds in the fabric is absolutely expertly done, where we then get to see, wait for it, her dress shirt that is tucked under her skirt as well. It's flowing, it's got shading to it. This is really impressive, Emon Toys. I don't know what, thank you? This is really good. It's a small feature, but it's the sort of thing that a lot of figure companies are gonna leave out. They won't even think twice about it. The skirt itself is beautifully pleated. I love the attention to detail and the line work that we get across it. It's done in a fairly cold brown, and we have some gorgeous shading, but there's actually highlights on there too. The highlights come off a little bit white, but I think that it works. The flow and energy that seems to just exude off this dress is phenomenal. And we get the same level of detail and sculpt work and shading that we do on the bottom as we do on the top. They really designed this figure where, depending on how you want to pose her, everything's going to look good. Her cardigan, is it a cardigan? Sweater? I don't know. I've never gone to one of these prep schools before, so I don't know the intricacies or details of the proper etiquette and name of such clothing. So I'm just gonna call it her brown vest, because that's how us on the streets call it. I don't live on the streets. Not anymore, that is. No, hold up, wait. I've never lived on said streets, but I did live in some pretty bad neighborhoods for a lot of portions of my life. Just going to bed. Turn up the music louder so you don't hear those gunshots. I'm going off topic. This sweatery vest looks fantastic. We get some great line work. Sculpt is a 10 on 10 with those folds and stretches in the fabric all around to really show off how she's twisting her body and the energy that she's portraying with her dynamic pose in general, the wind, all of this. It just looks really accurate. It's also very sharp, and this makes it pop a lot more. I wouldn't say there's that many highlights. However, there is a lot of shading on top of this lighter beige color, so it gives off the effect that there's highlights. We get a lovely little print of the school that she's going to. I believe she's top 5 for her abilities, at least. We have this lovely darker brown border going around her v-neck collar. That's the same brown as we see on the crest for her little school. Little? Is it little? Her dress shirt is flowing gorgeously. I love the sleeves. My goodness, look at these sleeves. They're so impressive. Like the coloring and everything, it's all really nice, but it's still simplistic. Regardless, it's nice to get it being well done here. But it's just that sculpt work. Oh my gosh, everything on her seems like she's wearing it. They didn't skimp on beveling out of fabrics, on having parts really go in. It's just looks like real clothing. Or better yet, real anime drawn clothing. Everything here from the stretches and folds of this dress shirt is just really on point. Get a nice line going all the way up into her neck. However, I would have liked to see a couple of buttons here. I mean, it's got so many great little details. It's a shame they missed out on that one. Her arms, much like her legs, expertly done. Honestly, I can't believe it. Again, they put so much work in the sculpt here. The musculature, along with so much of the lines, are really well shaped. It has really good coloring on it, while it doesn't feel like it's too much. The nails are very well painted on, and they don't look like she's wearing nail polish or anything like that, because she's not the type of gal to do that. She's the gritty, tomboyish type that wants to be cute and pretty and loves all sorts of adorable little things. And this figure really does a good job of showing all of her personality off. Her right hand looks very well done. The sculpt work with those knuckles and the lines we get across them is just wow. Where we have her cute little coin. This character has coins that she flicks at people, but using kinetic energy that she controls, it's like shooting off a railgun. The coin does look like a coin, and it gives a bit of semblance to there may be something on there, but I would have liked to see some somewhat nicer details on it. I mean, come on, this is actually an important part to her. She's always flicking these coins at people. So the attention to detail on this coin, I think, is lacking, but in no way is any kind of deal breaker. Really gotta get up close and personal to even notice that it doesn't have those details in the first place, so whatever. Her neck going into her clothing is okay. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible, and because of the pose she's taking, you don't really notice. Where when it connects into her face, it's so expertly done, you'd assume it was all one single piece of plastic. And there's still a line, it's just so smoothed out. Her ears are a little bit weird. I would have liked them to be maybe a little bigger, further down on the head. Her face is a solid 10 on 10. I don't like to brag, but I try to make it so that all the figures I get have faces that are solid 10 on 10s. When they're not, I usually either don't keep them for very long, or I guess I just don't really show them off. Oh, Love Live. Why couldn't you have just done like a little bit of a better job? I know this is a prize figure, but that face. Misaka's face is perfect. It's so accurate. I love the shape of it, the way that you get a tiny little change in the skin tone like you do with her nails on her lips. And it's not shiny to make it seem like she's wearing gloss or anything like that. It looks somewhat matte, so it really does feel like this girl, she's not wearing makeup. She doesn't have time for that. The nose is sharp, pointy, but very well placed to make it look like it's an anime illustration depending on what angle you're looking at her at. The eyes are matte decals, so they don't really shine as much as I probably would have liked, but it is still very nice. But it's so odd to say that some decals, which are illustrations once more, just don't make it look like the character. You had so much potential. Misaka has been a tried and tested figure that over the years, there's not many that really caught my eye and made me go, oh, that's totally her. But these determined, focused eyes really feel like her, along with aggressive eyebrows to match. She has these cute little flowers in her hair. It's adorable, and it really helps bring out her personality. There's not really any shading on them. I think I would have liked maybe a tiny little bit, but like, it's not such a big deal. Her hair is expertly sculpted, yet once again, I can't even begin. But I'm going to, because this is a figure review. This is amazing hair. From the front, you have such great motion, and it really looks like her hair. It's all over the place. A couple of the mold lines here and there, but they're really not too bad, and considering how they want you to look at this figure, it's not noticeable whatsoever, with exception to the left part of her hair, which is being pulled back and then has hair on top of it. I find at this point it's okay, but I do find the mold line here is a little intense. I would have liked her hair to go in a little bit more. At this point, it feels like the pushed in part is on the same level as the hair coming over it, and this just looks a little wrong to me. Regardless, while she's posed, again, it's not something that you really see. And it's just so ambitious and dynamic. It's flowing all over the place. This is nuts. We have some awesome highlights too, more along the front. I would have liked a little more defined anime highlight myself, but this still works very well. And the shading, oh my goodness, it gets darker and darker as we go further down on her hair, all the way to the back, where all these strands coming out are significantly darker than everything that we see on the top. Very nice. Upon her release, she was 11,800 yen. I know they also released a special version of her that you could have ordered from a specific place that came with an alternate face sculpt, and that one was 14,800 yen. It's got a winky face, it's very cute, but I personally love this determined one so much that I didn't see myself using it, so spending like the extra 3,000 yen, I just didn't really need it. This character is amazing. This show is awesome. I really enjoyed it. I actually preferred it more than Index and more than Accelerator, but I think a lot of people did. Really makes me think of the X-Men, but I wouldn't be surprised if the creator of this series thought that, and she overshadows so much of the other series, it's kind of ridiculous. Plus the English dubbing was fantastic. Wait a minute. I'm not doing a railgun review. I'm going off topic. The figure is amazing. I don't know what to tell you other than, like, if you can manage to grab one at a decent price, go for it. But you're gonna want tons of pictures. And the problem is, you could literally order off someone where she's in perfect shape, but by the time she gets to you, if she's not really well packaged, she'll be broken all over the place. For real, this is a terrifying figure. It's high risk, high reward? It's so frustratingly weird, because on any given day I would say, grab her, this is so epic, this is so accurate, but I don't want to be the one responsible for you crying when you get her in the mail. So I don't know what to say about this. Freaking hate gambling, and yet I play Genshin Impact. I'm like one of those.
His father, the drunken gambler?
That's right, and who might you be?
I don't gamble, but when I do, even the process of doing the review to her, I have to be careful not to bump into anything too hard or accidentally graze my sweater across something where it catches, because anything at any moment could snap here. It's so fragile. The plastic feels malleable, but it's just It's still relatively stiff and I just don't trust it. But the figure itself is so awesome, and this dynamic, ambitious pose is so cool. So look, if you really love Misaka, this is an amazing figure. It's so her, it's crazy. But is it worth the shipping risk? I don't know, especially if you end up having to pay a premium for her. Just be sure to pay for shipping insurance. Oh my gosh, hopefully it doesn't come to that. If you like my video just a little bit, it doesn't cost much to railgun that like. Why not another railgun on that subscribe? And perhaps railgun that notification bell. It goes a crazy long way to supporting my channel, and I really love and appreciate you all for supporting it. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! She's so amazing, and I love this show so much. I just have, like, so much to say about it that I...
Say what you wanna say to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning. Show me there's nothing fake to me now.
So cool.